Weather HQ. I'm Ann Asis Carrillo. This week, we're tracking big stories making headlines. From the 6.1 tons of trash collected across Metro Manila on Election Day to Palawan being recognized as the world's best island to visit in 2025. And Ilocos Norte's watermelon farmers earning a remarkable 9 million pesos in just 2 months. Let's start with the growing garbage issue in the Metro. Here's the conversation with MMDA Chairman Armando Artes on how the agency plans to address this.
It's more than 11,000 kilograms na ang nakolekt ng MMDA. Wala pa po dyan yung mga kinolekta ng mga LGU. So, iniipon namin yung data to be able to get the exact figure. But I think compared to the previous year, mas marami po yung nakolekta nating basura, particularly tarpaulin. More than 23,000 pieces of tarpaulins po ang ating nakuha. And ongoing pa po yung ating backlash operation. And mag-increase pa po yan. Pero hanggang today na lang po yung ating operations. And matatapos naman po namin within the day.
Chairman, karamihan ba sa mga trash collected were the tarps?
Yes, tarps. 23,000 pieces so far ang nakolekta namin as of yesterday.
Sir, ano yung pinamalaking challenges in terms of election day, post-election day cleanups po ng MMDA?
Well, una-una yung mga tarpaulins na nasa medyo matataas na lugar. Kailangan pang akyatin ng aming mga tauhan para completely maalis. Kasi kung pababayaan lang namin ito, pag yan ay nasira, umulan, mapupunta yan sa estero or sa ating mga canals na magdudulot ng pagbara at pagbaha. So, kaya sinisikap namin alisin as much as possible lahat ng mga tarpaulins, whether or not nakakabit sa illegal or legal na lugar.
Sir, this election cycle in particular, COMELEC has advised yung mga candidates po, mga party list, to be more responsible with the material used in terms of yung mga campaign materials nila and of course the location on where they are. Broadly speaking po, sa palagay niyo po ba, nasundan ba to by the majority of the candidates or may problema pa rin here in this particular election cycle?
Well, I think sa observation ng aming mga tauhan, ang kusang nagbabaklas ay yung mga nanalo. Pag medyo natalo na, hindi na nag-exert ng effort kasi may expenses din yan, yung pagtatanggal. So, probably we can make a recommendation sa COMELEC na yung mga hindi magbabaklas na whether or not natalo or nanalong kandidato, dapat i-disqualify na from running again sa next or succeeding elections. So, dapat siguro mas maging strict tayo sa consequences noong hindi pagtatanggal nitong kanilang mga tarpaulins after elections.
Sir, when it comes to partnerships in terms of the cleanup, who does MMDA partner with? Is it mainly the LGUs and the candidates or are there any other organizations as well?
Well, una na dyan ang LGUs. As I've said earlier, meron naman silang sariling operations. That's why we have to get the numbers from them kung ilan ang nakuha nila. May mga partners din tayo ng mga LGUs naman to process this waste para po ma-recycle like BJMP, may tayo po sa COMELEC, papadala po namin sa kanila para yung mga persons deprived of liberty ay makagawa ng mga eco bags. Meron din mga private sector like I received a call yesterday from Manila Teachers Party List, Congressman PG Lacson, say mag-start siya ng programa na gawing eco bag itong mga tarpaulins na to. So, nangihingi po siya ng mga tarpaulins para magawang eco bag.
Sir, when apart from that particular project or that particular proposal, ano yung mga programa ng MMDA po to address yung solid waste problem, not just for this election cycle po, but in general moving forward?
Well, yung mga pwedeng gamitin, meron tayong eco brick making facility sa Bitas. Gigilingin namin itong mga basura na ito, tapos iahalo namin as filler, paggawa po ng hollow blocks, concrete barriers at mga bricks po na ginagamit naman namin para sa mga parks and other purposes.
When you mentioned it a while ago po, yung if ever yung observation nyo, yung proposal is that yung mga natalo na candidates, baka there could be a warning or there could be something in the future that would probably disqualify them from running again if they do not clean up yung mga material nila. But are there any other proposals the MMDA has in mind for a more trash-free election siguro sa susunod na election cycle?
Well, pwede naman po yan. Pinag-aaralan din namin, baka pwedeng biodegradable yung mga trash. We'll discuss it sa COMELEC siguro after ma-settle at matapos tong election period.
Sir, when you look at the current sustainable solid waste management, you mentioned yung mga eco bricks po ninyo, yung mga being able to turn these tarps in particular into mga eco bag. Gaano ka-importante sa MMDA yung creating programs and projects that are sustainable, especially when it comes to waste management po natin?
Well, we really wanted to promote circular economy. Na itong mga basurang ito, instead of dumping it sa mga sanitary landfills, ay magamit. Kasi tama yung sinasabi nila, may pera rin sa basura. So, itong mga basurang ito ay dapat magamit muli instead na, again, sa landfill mapunta or worse, sa ating po mga daloyan ng tubig and eventually sa karagatan po natin na harmful po sa environment.
So Chairman, right before we let you go, when we take a look at the entire cleanup process, the entire pollution problem after the election, how would you say this election cycle has gone when it comes to yung solid waste management po natin? And of course, what do you feel is the biggest point we need to improve on for the next cycle?
Well, dapat siguro pag-aralan kung paano mababawasan ito po mga tarpaulins na ito at kung paano magkakaroon ng proseso sa pagre-recycle at pagsasaayos. Dahil parami po ng parami talaga yung tarpaulins na, again, pag hindi po na sino ay magiging environmental hazards and cause din po ng flooding. So we really have to study it carefully kung paano natin magiging maisaayos nito at magko-coordinate po kami sa COMELEC para magkaroon ng regulation.
After the break, we shift focus to Palawan, which isn't just making waves globally, but also taking big steps to balance tourism growth with environmental protection. Weather HQ will be right back. Welcome back to Weather HQ. This is Ann Assis-Carillo. Palawan is back in the spotlight after being named the world's best island to visit in 2025 by U.S. News and World Report, a big win for Philippine tourism. To share more on what this recognition means and what's next for the island, here's my interview with Ms. Maribel Buni, department head from the provincial government of Palawan.
Recognitions like this well, they make us happy. We are elated by this recognition, considering that one of our top markets, actually our top markets are those coming from Americas. And this is a very good recognition. But as you said earlier, recognitions like this would also entail great responsibility or greater responsibility on the part of stakeholders like us, local government units, plus the businesses.
What role, Ms. Maribel, does the provincial government play in protecting yung natural beauty and appeal of the islands that actually led to this global recognition?
Well, by law, local government units are responsible for regulating the tourism industry. In our case, well, of course, local government units, in the case of municipalities, they do licensing and regulating the tourism industry at the local level. We are the only province in the Philippines that has this SEP law or Strategic Environmental Plan for the province of Palawan, which also serves as the framework for sustainable development. And with this hand in hand with the local government units looking into really regulating the tourism industry, we really have to, I think this is one way of protecting our advantage. You know that it's our, well, at advantage, and we are really happy that our Creator, God has really given us these natural destinations or natural features that we have, these natural resources. And so we are banking on these natural destinations, this sand, beach, etc., to generate arrivals of tourists.
Yes.
There are destinations that are man-made, but sir, you said that you have a business in El Nido. You know what El Nido and how El Nido looks like.
Yes.
And yes, and El Nido is like people or tourists are attracted because of its natural
Yes,
beauty.
Miss Maribel, it's the peak of the season now for tourists. It's in full swing. How are you preparing for the expected influx of tourists? Kasi, I mean, sure, every year naman, voted si Palawan as one of the best beaches in the world by different publications. So, padami ang turista.
Yes, we coordinate usually with our local government units and other agencies, the national government agencies, because it's really important to assure that our tourists get the best experience when they come to Palawan.
Yes po.
Yes po. So we coordinate with them and make sure that everything is in place.
Do
For
you have a
example,
number, Miss Buni, of how many tourists you're expecting this season?
For our benchmark is 2019. That's pre-pandemic. No, we have 1.9 million recorded arrivals in 2019, and in 2022, at least we have a 99% already of that. And
Wow.
first quarter of 2025, meaning from January to March of 2025.
So you can actually achieve double digits this year.
Yeah, we hopefully, but we're just looking at like 15 to 20% increase. No, for the first quarter, we already recorded about 500,000, which means that's plus. No, we already have about 27% of the arrivals of last year, with tourists coming in this second quarter, because our seasonality would be like from October up to May or June yearly. No, that's
Yes.
where tourists come. Hopefully, we get more arrivals, and if not, I'm not sure if we can double that. But looking at the history, we double arrivals, but from like 3 or 5 years. No? So at least we're expecting 20% increase by the end of 2025.
Yeah, and you talked about the weather.
Yes,
Earlier.
yes. So we're experiencing hotter weather. Ms. Maribel, what climate resilience measures have been put in place for both locals and the visitors?
Well, we are always reminding our tourists, no, in coordination also with our local government units, because that's where the real experiences are. We have coordinated with their respective DRRs and other agencies, and continuously reminding our tourists to to also be responsible. No, they also have to be safe. Take measures also that they take a lot of water. We constantly remind them that this weather, we experience a high heat index lately, so it really affect destinations like us. So we continue to remind our
Yes.
tourists also, plus our stakeholders, that to also remind their tourists of safety.
Miss
It's
Maribel.
non-negotiable. Safety is non-negotiable.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Ms. Maribel, what about ongoing initiatives to promote sustainable energy and reduce heat impacts in the tourism areas and public spaces? Meron na po kayong mga partners with the business community there regarding this?
There are a lot already of business establishments. First, I've mentioned about the SCP law. It's the Palawan Council for Sustainable Development. Before, they have this zero carbon project, and it's of stakeholders or tourism-related establishments are encouraged to engage in renewable energy. Like, for example, resorts and accommodation facilities, they do that, no? And in the province, I think, especially in Puerto Princesa, particularly in area of Sabang, there is a solar field or farm that
Yes.
produces energy in Sabang. I know in El Nido, of course, sir, there are a lot also of tourism establishments or facilities that engage in renewable energy.
Yes, we use a lot of solar there, and di ba?
That is the way to go,
Yes.
actually, solar energy. You know, I wanted to go back to what we were talking about a while ago, the influx of tourists coming in, especially now, summer season, no? Padami ng padami yung mga tourists na nagpupunta sa Palawan. Aside from, making sure that they get the best experience when they visit the island, do you also have efforts to educate tourists on being environmentally responsible during their stay? Kasi hindi natin maiiwasan, Ferdy, when there are so many tourists coming in,
Yes.
nagkakaroon tayo ng problem with...
Maybe particularly the domestic market, I have to say, because, we still need to get educated with that.
Yeah.
The foreigners, normally they're used to it. They're used to putting the trash where it's supposed to be and stuff like that. But yeah.
So, meron ba tayong efforts, Miss Maribel, being done to, remind the tourists on how to be environmentally responsible?
Well, there are local ordinances in different areas that we really have to look into our wastes. No? To be environmentally responsible, as you said. So they do practice waste segregation and then constantly reminding them that, we cannot just put trash anywhere. Get back to us.
Yun din kasi ang nagiging problem, right? In
Yes.
different
Yes.
tourist destinations, the garbage
But
disposal.
Palawan is still super beautiful.
Yes, of course.
Well, it's always El Nido because earlier Surfer said that he has a small business or a business in El Nido. In your place in El Nido, you have an ordinance like the single-use plastic, right? So,
Yes, madam.
even
We do.
in
We
our
practice that.
Also, there's an ordinance actually of on banning the single-use plastic. So, and then more and more people would also not only the tourists but even residents also. So imagine if we have that 1 million tourists being responsible and putting their trash anywhere or looking into the future of how will our environment be, considering that we are tagged as the last ecological frontier, And while we are not spare of what is happening now, we get affected by climate change also. So I think we also have to be responsible individually.
After the break, we will see how Ilocos Norte is expanding watermelon farming to boost local farmers' income. Weather HQ returns in just a moment. Hello and welcome back to Weather HQ. This is Ann Asiscarillo. As part of its drive to strengthen agriculture and support small farmers, the provincial government of Ilocos Norte is scaling up its clustered farming program. To tell us more about this initiative, here is our interview with Engineer Maria Teresa L. Bacnat, Officer in Charge of the Provincial Agriculture Office of Ilocos Norte.
3 years from now, we are already having a project on clustered farming focusing on high-value crops. So this year, our farmers from Barangay Casillan, Bacara have invested in watermelon, and then we want really to invest in watermelon because we know that watermelon is a cash crop commodity. In short span of 50 to 60 days, our farmers can already harvest a watermelon. So, mabilis po yung return of investment dito sa crop na ito po, sir.
Na-mention mo nga, engineer, yung Bacara, they had a recent success. No? They yielded a 9 million peso net profit over 2 months. And we were curious off the air, bakit nga ba watermelon ang napili? And why is this a good fit for Ilocos Norte?
Yes po, ma'am. Actually po, ma'am, yung farmers natin sa Casillan, Bacara ay talagang tatanim na po ng watermelon. But it's really this time na talagang yung provincial government ay nagbigay po ng malaking intervention po sa ating mga farmers. And then we are really glad na yung outcome po ng intervention ng provincial government ay talagang impacted the lives of our watermelon farmers in Bacara. That's why ma'am, we have planned to expand the watermelon in other towns in Ilocos Norte because yung mga other towns po kasi ma'am ay may mga farmers din tayong nagtatanim ng watermelon. So we really encourage them to venture into shifting into high value crops just like watermelon po.
Engineer, how are farmers encouraged or paano ba sila pinipilit to join the program?
Yes po ma'am, in Ilocos Norte po kasi ma'am, meron na po tayong tinatawag na yung mga organized farmers, cooperatives, association. So yung mga association po natin ay may mga identified crops na po kasi sila na itinatanim such as onion, meron po garlic, watermelon, mango. So doon po tayo nagbe-base kung saan po talaga sila yung kanilang itinatanim na doon tayo po nag-base kung ano po yung talaga yung ibibigay natin po sa kanila na crops na itatanim po.
And I'm curious, engineer, so what made the initial 50-hectare project in Bacara so successful?
Yes po. The president of the association po in Bacara came to our office and asked for the assistance from the provincial governments such as yung mga agricultural inputs such as watermelon seeds, fertilizers, mulch, plastic mulch, and others. Because we have known ma'am na itong mga agricultural inputs na ito ay medyo mahal po kasi. So, they want that the provincial government will provide assistance for them para pumalesen yung production cost po ng ating mga farmers doon.
Engineer, now how crucial was the role of farmer groups like the Zanjera Castilian Irrigators Association to this project?
Yes po, the role of our farmers group is very crucial po in making the lives of our farmers more fruitful or more economic. Because po sir, our farmers po, just like yung mga organized na po ay mas madali po kasi silang turuan. Example po yung mga package of technologies, mas mabilis po kasi ma-impart po yung mga advanced technologies pag yung mga recipient po natin ay organized na. And then, yun pong mga farmers cooperatives po natin sir ay we choose them to give intervention, especially when it comes to market, because pag consolidated na po kasi yung recipient po natin, mas madali pong i-market yung kanilang product. So, hindi na po natin kailangang i-consolidate because in the first place, they have already a consolidated group and organized.
Engineer, I know that you mentioned that you are planning to expand the project to other municipalities. Ano yung mga key lessons from the pilot that are being applied to this expansion?
Yes po. Having been, yung napatunayan po natin na yung impact po dito sa Barangay Castilian ay napakalaki po. So, we are extending, yun po yung magiging basis po namin man to extend this watermelon production because sabi ko nga po kanina, within a short period of time, yung ating mga farmers ay magha-harvest na po sila with that very high profit. So we are extending po itong clustered farming na we have experienced in Barangay Bacara to other towns in Ilocos Norte para po ma-experience din ng ating mga farmers yung mga benefit na naidulot po ng clustered farming na ito in Barangay Castilian, Bacara.
And with this expansion, engineer, beyond local markets, meron ba kayong plans to tap into national or international markets for the Ilocos Norte watermelon produce?
Since we have a lot of buyers as of now for watermelon, so maybe we'll only consider national po muna ma'am since ganda po kasi ang market po ng watermelon. So, from the experience in Bacara po, when we monitor the harvesting, we saw a lot of buyers na po in the area. So, maybe hanggang sa national muna po, ma'am. Kasi maganda po talaga yung market ng watermelon.
Engineer, looking at the success of this project, and it was mentioned that there was a 9 million peso profit from this. Now, from that 9 million pesos na profit, how much goes back to the farmers?
Yes po, sir. Based po sa with our computation on the return of investment, the return of investment per hectare of watermelon is 180%, which means they have invested 100,000 as production cost in per hectare, and they gained 180,000 pesos per hectare net profit. So, yun po sir, maganda po talaga yung return of investment per hectare ng watermelon.
All right. And Engineer Bacnat, so what kind of support will the farmers receive in this next phase? So will there be any new forms of assistance provided to them?
Yes, with that 50 hectares planted with watermelon, a total of 1.6 million worth of agricultural inputs were given to them, such as hybrid watermelon seeds, foliar fertilizers, inorganic fertilizers, plastic mulch, and the other. And those investment mo po, ma'am, ay hindi po nasayang kasi nga po ang laki po ng return of investment po sa kanila ng watermelon cluster farming po na ito.
Engineer, napakaganda nitong project na ito, no? Natutulungan talaga ang ating mga local farmers. Before we let you go, what are the long-term goals of this program for farmer income and food security?
Yes po. Aside from expanding po yung watermelon as high-value crops, we are also looking into other high-value crops po na magbibigay po ng talagang promising profit sa ating mga farmers. So, while we have a plan for expanding more or shifting to high-value crops other than the traditional crops that will give our farmers promising profit. So we also support them not only in agricultural inputs, which is short-term in nature, but we are also planning to give them irrigation support, which we perceive that irrigation will play a vital role in the production of all crops in our province. So ito po kasing irrigation facilities po dito ay very crucial po. And then when it comes to yung long term, ito po kasi ay long term intervention or have a long term impact po sa ating mga farmers.
And that wraps up this week's Weather HQ. This is Ann Asis Carrillo. Join us again next week right here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo News Channel.